Hey guys, what's up? Lightboltjoe here. Today we're going to discuss Rick Riordan's The Kane Chronicles. We're not going to discuss every detail about all 5 books. There are 3 books in the main series, and there are 2 companion books. So let's go through them, shall we? First book, The Red Pyramid. Second book, The Throne of Fire. Third book, The Serpent Shadow. Now, why it's a great trilogy is because it's literally companioned to graphic novels. We have the first book, The Red Pyramid. The second book, The Throne of Fire. The third book, The Serpent's Shadow. Now, why I love the graphic novels is because there's pictures of them, right? I have a very short attention span. Very short attention span. So I love the way Rick writes because he doesn't take too much time with certain details. Yes, he'll go into character backgrounds, he'll go into actual thoughts, going through the process of the characters, but when you read one of the graphic novels, one of the comics, it's just straight up scene to scene. So it's like you're, mapping out a movie kind of a thing, which is cool. I like that. It's quick, it's fast, it's short, sweet, to the point, gets everything through. Companion book, we have Demigods versus Magicians, Demigods and Magicians, and then we have the one that I just finished, this is why we're actually discussing this today, Brooklyn House Magician's Manual. So why all of these are important, because you have no idea probably if you're watching this, what the Kane Chronicles are actually about. Carter and Sadie Kane, they are fraternal twins, look nothing alike. They have the blood of the pharaohs in them, so it's all about Egyptian mythology. We all know Uncle Rick writes about mythology, right? The Percy Jackson books are about Greek mythology. The Heroes of Olympus books are about Greek and Roman mythology. Kane Chronicles is about Egyptian mythology. Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard are, you guessed it, about Norse mythology. And then Rick actually just started to do these Rick Riordan Presents books. So the first book in the Rick Riordan Presents books is Arusha and the End of Time, which is about Hindu mythology. We have another Rick Riordan book coming out, Rick Riordan Presents book coming out about the Mayan gods, and we have another one coming out about the Korean gods. So it's really cool seeing all of these gods from all of these different, I was going to say ethnicities, that's not the word, all of these different cultural backgrounds, there we go, all these different cultures in ancient times, all of these different mythologies coming together in modern times. So the Percy Jackson books, the Heroes of Olympus books, the Kane Chronicles, and the Magnus Chase books are all set in the same Percyverse, as we call it. The same mythoverse. Arusha, I don't actually know if we're considering that in the Percyverse. I myself am considering it part of the Percyverse, that all of the gods are represented different ways, and it's cool, it's exciting. But the cool thing about the Kane Chronicles is about it talks base on not so much demigods, because that's what we have with the other books, but more so magicians. That if you have the blood of the pharaohs in you, you are a magician. You are part of the first gnome. You are part of, these tribes that have to protect Egypt as a whole. We talk about, in previous videos I've talked about the veil, right? Lifting the veil. Egyptian's version is the duat. Greek Roman version is the mist. Glamour is another way to say it. I think that's the Norse thing, glamour. But the book that I just finished reading, Brooklyn House Magician's Manual, your guide to Egyptian gods and creatures, glyphs and spells and more. Glyphs, hieroglyphs, right? Spells, for those of us who have our magic wands. Don't have a magic wand on me currently. I apologize, because I am clearly a true magician. But it was nice getting background on these certain gods, It was nice seeing certain spells. It was nice seeing, behind the scenes of after the third book. After, Serpent Shadow ended and they defeated Setne, however you want to say his name. God of, just awful. Apophis, God of Chaos, It's cool because you have all these different things. And my mind is racing a mile a minute right now with all these different details about all these different gods and goddesses and the demigods and magicians, the Percy and Annabeth meet the Kanes. That was an awesome 3-part miniseries, as if it's a TV show, about Percy Jackson and Carter Kane versing a Soulbeck beast. We have Sadie Kane and Annabeth Chase meeting up this 3 creature thing on a subway, and then they, eventually face the main god, who is a combo of Greek and Egyptian magic. Because you got to think of it historically. Greeks invaded Egypt at one point. Egypt really could care less about Europe, but Greeks, Alexander the Great, Alexander the Third of Macedon, and his Macedonian Empire, which was a Greek city-state at one point, obviously created Alexandria in Egypt, and then obviously Greek influence in Egypt on that northern bank of the Nile was a big thing. And then you had the Romans come in, and everyone knows that Julius Caesar and Cleopatra the Seventh, had a fling and had a child, and then Julius decided, you know what, no, I'm not giving my empire to that literal offspring of mine, I'm going to give it to my nephew. And then Cleopatra winds up killing herself with a snake, and it's just this whole thing. Everyone knows that, right? But, that's my point. Egypt doesn't care about Europe. Europe cared about Egypt. So, it's cool seeing these stories mix all the different cultures together in a fictitious way based off of nonfiction things that have happened. What I really liked about this series the most is the vulnerability that these characters had. The pure desperation and elation combining together. Oh, that was a beautiful way to say that. I'm so poetic. I really liked one major plot point, throughout the books is that they were trying to find Ra, the god Ra, the big god of Ra, right? Because, there was a thing going on and they needed his help. But they found him in one part of, the underworld, and then he's in this assisted living home for forgotten gods, and he's just this senile old guy. And it was cool because normally when you have these demigods, whether it's in the Aru Shah story, whether it's in Percy Jackson, Heroes of Olympus, Magnus Chase books, the demigods need to fight on behalf of the gods. Oh, Trials of Apollo. I am an idiot. I completely forgot about that other Rick Riordan chunk of stories, Greek and Roman as well. Apollo as a human. We talked about Trials of Apollo the other day. So all of these demigods have to do these quests because the gods refuse to do it, kind of a thing. It's not like that in this. This particular god Ra, the almighty Ra, just couldn't do anything. He was just this helpless thing because he was becoming forgotten, and he needed magician help. He needed Carter and Sadie Kane's help, and Bess, the god, and Tawaret as well, and Zia, who could forget Zia, magician that she is. He needed the help of them in order to become the full powerful Ra again. It's really cool seeing that. It's really cool seeing these humans with blood of the pharaoh in them have to literally work for the gods to make sure that the end of time doesn't happen. It's cool seeing that, as opposed to the other Rick books where the demigods have to fight on the gods because the gods are just complete douchebags. But, that's also cool. Certain points. And then Percy sticks it to them at one point, and Nico sticks it to them at one point, and Jason, rest in peace, sticks it to them at one point, and Leo and Piper and Hazel and Frank, and it's so many characters, so many books. There's 20-something, 30-something books? So many books, so little time. But you get lost in these immersive worlds, and you're not bored, because you just learn so much about these cultures and these stories, and how, Zeus and Odin are pretty much the same dude, and Jupiter as well. It's really cool. It's really cool seeing all this tied together. Ra is up there as well, and I'm like I said, I just started the Aru Shah book, so I'm learning about the Hindu mythologies because I don't know anything about it. But that's the cool thing. I'm inquisitive. I like to learn. I like to know these things. I like to see how all these cultures are the same, because we're talking about the same gods but with different names and different little backstories. But as you can see by my sprawled collection of the Kane Chronicles, I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, that Rick wrote this Brooklyn House Magician's Manual. I just finished reading it, a week ago, something like that. It came out a little, like a month ago, maybe. I'm just gonna look at the copyright, April 2018. So it came out a month ago. This leaves off in a sense of there might possibly be more stories to share. Is there going to be another Kane Chronicles trilogy? That would be pretty awesome because these books are really awesome. They're great characters. Is there going to be another mashup between Percy, Annabeth, Sadie, and Carter? That'd be pretty awesome. I would even love to see if Magnus, god of Frey, you know, summer god of Norse mythology, meets up with them at some point. What that'd be so cool. That'd be really, really cool if we had the 4 different cultures, Greek, Roman, Egyptian, Norse, combined in one full mashup story. I'm positive it's gonna happen. One of these days it's gonna happen. Kane Chronicles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 books, technically. The main trilogy is adapted into graphic novels, which are awesome. If you hate reading, right? Because I get it. Some stories are irrelevant when it comes to details. Like, you don't need 10 pages describing why the damn sky is blue or why the trees are green. Irrelevant. Get to the point. The graphic novels get to the point. So if I flip and you see upside down, the action and adventure and quotes and sorrow and despair and death and murder and Carter's intestines coming out at one point. These are books. Visual, beautiful, gorgeous stories. I highly recommend, even if you don't want to read the full novels, get the graphic novels, because this story as an entirety is astounding. Exceptionally fantastic. We're going to use all these big syllable words. I said fantastic already, right? 3 syllables. Awesome. Nah, that's 2 syllables. Amazing. 3 syllables. Kane Chronicles by Riordan. Give it a read if you haven't done so already. Egyptian mythology. Who could possibly hate the Egyptian gods and glyphs? Please. Spells all around. Take care, guys. Mucho mahalo.